Welcome to the Business Owner Spotlight. I'm your host, Stephanie Scheller. Every single week, I bring you guys amazing business owners who can share incredible information because these are the people, like, let's be honest, let's break this down. The economy in the United States works on these small businesses. In fact, the economy over in Europe works on these small businesses. And these guys are brilliant and they deserve to have the chance to share that information with you guys because my personal belief is you can learn from anyone if you just take time to listen. So today I have an amazing young one with me. Super impressed with her commitment to her team and her foresight. So I am looking forward to this interview. Mitzi, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So obviously we've chatted, but our listeners have no clue who you are or what I'm even talking about. So why don't you tell us who you are, what you do, and how you got started?
Well, I'm Mitzi Dyane Childress. I'm founder of Swiftsellproperties. It's a real estate wholesaling company that finds distressed properties and for a discount passes on those discounts to other real estate investors like landlords and rehabbers. We also work with private investors and able to put their money to work, their idle money to work, and backed by real estate. I started out about a year and a half ago full-time. It's probably about a year and 8 months now. Full-time, I just decided to go ahead and do it and got a mentor and then got another mentor, read as much as I could, did as much as I could. It was a lot of trial by error too, just did it. You know, if you want to do something, you have to get the specialized knowledge in it. You have to be willing to do all the work, go through it, be persistent, and it was really hard in the beginning. I mean, there's still times that it's difficult, but it's really rewarding, and I really enjoy it.
Well, I mean, if you think about, like, your industry is like the one industry that, you know, people go into and out of, well, not the one industry, but it's one of the major industries. Everyone's like in and out because there's so much reward, but people don't push through that initial tough period to get to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What would you say was probably so obviously it was tough in the beginning. It's tough in the beginning for any business owner. I don't know anyone who's like, oh no, I started it, everything went perfectly. So what were probably some of the, I guess, bigger challenges that you faced when you went in? You said you did a lot of trial and error. What were some of those, and how did you get past that? How did you stay in business?
Well, so I was when I first got into it, I was like really trying hard to make my first deal. So I actually made my first deal like within 23 days of meeting my mentor, and I got on it, and it was a really great deal. I made some really good money and was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be rich. And then I decided to go on a week's vacation and not keep my pipeline up, and that bit me in the end. And so that was some trial and errors. If you make a bunch of money, don't just go on vacation and not keep your pipeline going. And then I also just creating systems, things that worked. And when you're an individual and you're trying to do this business by yourself, you can plateau. You can create systems and some automation, but you definitely need a team of some sort to keep on growing. And so that was some trial and error. I thought I could do so much and realized I'm only one person. I have to delegate some things and hire people on. Then the hiring on process was a trial and error right there too. Talking to sellers, negotiating with sellers, door knocking. I cold call too. So all of this was, I don't know what just happened to the Zoom thing. Can you still see me?
I can still see you.
The whole thing has been a lot of trial and error and just learning different processes that work. But it's been fun. One thing that I try to do is, like, no matter what I'm doing, is just enjoy now.
Yeah.
That's what makes up your life.
Well, and a year and a half in, you're past the first big mark, which is the 1 year. The next big one is your 3 years. So, but you hit the nail on the head, right? So I know a lot of business owners who they grow and they do really well by themselves, and then they get to, what I've learned is you can get to about 100, about 150 on your own, which, that may sound really great, but in all honesty, when you're running your own business, 100, 150 is not that much money at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to hire. What was some of the stuff you learned about hiring that helped you out?
Well, I'm an energy person, and I think if you pick up some bad vibes with somebody, totally go with it. Don't make excuses for it. Especially if the resume still sounds good, really listen to your gut. And then also, test somebody out. Like, that's something that I learned was if somebody says they can do something, just go ahead and ask them to do it in front of you. Like, for a second, like do a role call, like role playing of like cold calling, or, okay, you say you're an expert in Excel. Can you go ahead and just do this for me? And it helps, like, get rid of the people who say they can do it, and then like you ask them simply to do something and then they can't do it, and okay, well, they understand why you didn't hire them.
Right.
And you don't have to hire them and then figure out that they can't do the work and then have to get rid of them.
Rather than deal with unemployment. Yeah, that's a mess.
Yeah. And I try to find a place if I can. I see where people's strengths are and put them where they're strongest, where it serves them best in the company. And unfortunately, there's just some people that I don't have a spot for yet, so I have to let them go if it doesn't work out. But I look at everybody like kind of like a family, on the team. It's more than just a team. It's like a family. So I don't like having to let anybody go.
I like the idea of looking at it as family. I know a lot of people who try and look at it as like, well, and I know multiple companies who are constantly hiring because they're like, I want everyone to feel like they're under threat. And, for some companies, with the culture that they've built, it works for them. But, for me personally, I'm like, no, I'm not constantly hiring. When I need someone, I will go out and I will hire that person. And they're going to be with me until, either they decide to leave me or they show they can't do what they were, they're no longer a fit for the culture. Because you can always change them from position to position, right? You don't have to be like, oh, you suck at cold calling, fired.
Yeah.
So, no, I love that. What is your best piece? I know I'm going off on this whole team thing. I don't know why, but what's your best piece of advice for someone to keep their team motivated as far as like keeping their team together?
I've actually been pretty lucky at being able to keep my team motivated, and I haven't had anybody really want to leave. They've all stayed, and it's been really great.
Nice.
I do weekly meetings with everybody in person, and I do some motivational stuff, and then go a little deeper into the daily duties and like what are problems and how we can solve them, and I involve them like they're part of the company, because they are. I mean, we all are. So I value their opinion. I ask them for their opinions on things, and I just have, I'm all into Tony Robbins and like everything like motivational and inspiring. So I have like some of my stuff that I'll say, and they just stay really motivated. I'm constantly trying to show them I care in different ways. Like if I can see that somebody's working really hard, I'll throw them a bone. I'll be like, hey, can you go out to this house? I can't go out there today, and hook them up with something like a deal that may have came to me, and just different things so they can see that I'm not a stingy person or anything. And I think it's about letting your people know you care about them, and then also be willing to give them the guidance and keeping the open communication where if they need something or if they have any questions, you're there for them and letting them know that. And so I think it's kind of good that I'm a woman too, because it's almost like, and I'm a mother. So I have that nurturing side to me. It's like, oh, let's solve the problem. Let's talk about it. Let's get this, let's take care of this and manage things and let people know I care. And I think that's a big thing, is letting people know you care and they're not just, just another person you hired.
Yeah, I agree. I think, my husband went from working for the Air Force, the government, to a large company, to a local company. And he's like, it's just great because, at the bigger company, you never really felt like you were needed or appreciated, really. Your boss might, but you also knew that, your boss's boss could come in and totally screw things up. And he's like, it's great to feel like, I think that's one of the biggest perks of working for a smaller company is like, if you get a good boss, you really are part of it and you become that part of something bigger that all the millennials are out there looking for right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do want to expand. So I told them that I do want to become a franchise. And if they're interested, then being on the ground floor, they can be some of the people that go out and start the franchises in different areas if they're interested.
Oh yeah, because then they can go to whatever city they want. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's like different incentives. I've set them up so that they'd want to stay with the company.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna have to make this one a quick question because we're running out of time here, but how do you keep, so another one of the challenges I see people deal with all the time is keeping multiple team members from, especially in like a sales environment, from being at each other's throats, keeping them feeling like a team. So how do you keep them working together instead of against each other?
Okay, so I talk on that a lot, and they actually do work together. So I tell them, we're all different. We have different things we like to do, and then other people like to do the things we hate to do. So I'm going to make a roster of different things that you guys like to do. Like our employee roster also has, this person likes to cold call, this person likes to drive, this person likes to do this person likes to do that. And you see it all, and they all like different things. I'm like, guys, if you hate something and it's stopping you from making a deal happen, team up with the person that loves to do that part of it. And you guys may have to split the profits, but now you made a deal happen instead of just sitting there procrastinating because you weren't wanting to make the deal happen because you hated that part of it, and then if you're busy, what's great about the team is somebody else can go and look at the house for you and only we pay them a few $100s for doing that for you. It's more like you've got a team to help you out to make these deals happen faster and more frequently. And why not take advantage of that? And if somebody brings a lead first, they automatically get it. So if somebody else brings in another lead and is like the exact same lead, we let them know because of our system, well, the other person gets that first, and so they go on to the next one. So it's just, hey, that one was already taken. You can think of it like another company, us, whatever. It's just already taken. You just move on. And nobody has a problem with that. They're like, oh, okay. And then
because they know it'll come back around to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So we're coming up on the tail end of our interview here, and I'm very curious to hear, as a business owner, obviously you've been very successful your first year and a half in business. I know a lot of business owners who make it to a year and a half and still haven't hired their first employee. So you're like so far ahead of the ball game. Plus, you're super smart. I'd love to hear, what is your best piece of advice for other business owners?
Enjoy now, and everything you do, be here now. Don't worry about the future problems. Of course, be goal oriented, but all your power is right now. And be persistent. Don't ever give up. Keep on going after it. Self-reflect. Keep on getting better and keep on learning. You only fail when you give up, and you succeed when you don't.
I love that. I always freak out. I'm trying to write it down, right? So I always take notes when I do all these. So I've been trying to take notes, and I was trying to write that one down. Then I'm always like, oh yeah, I'm recording this. I can go back and get it later. So
yeah, and I had said something earlier to you too that you liked, and I'll say this one too, just because this is a good one for everybody. There's two types of people in this world: those that make excuses and those that make it happen. Which one are you?
And I think that's a great note to end on. So guys, that was a good question. Take some time and answer that for yourself. In the meantime, join us again. We'll be back with more business owner spotlights. We'll be back with more amazing videos, content, keeping you inspired and motivated. Mitzi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. You have a good day.
You too. Guys, go out there, make it happen.